shot of newly transplanted pepper plants. They get much bigger once they start growing. Right now, they just look like tiny little trees. This is a shot of mature pepper plants. You can see the peppers starting to form. You can also see the white flowers that form right before the baby peppers start to form. Here's a shot of a Carmen pepper plant. You can see that they get pretty big on the plant. You can also take your peppers inside at this green stage and they'll continue to ripen up and turn red on your counter over the course of a few days. This pepper here is called Flavor Burst. It will go from light green to orange as it ripens. Here on the back of the label, you can see it takes about 67 days before you can harvest it green, but if you want it to turn yellow, you'll have to wait a bit more, closer to 87 days. Of course, using pruning shears is recommended for easier harvesting, but for this pepper, we're just going to twist, 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 and it should pop right off. And these are some tiny purple beauty peppers with some blossoms left to grow. As it ripens, it will get red streaks as well, but these are actually green on the inside when you cut into them. And this is a classic variety that I like to grow called Ace. It's really reliable, it's productive, it's a great variety for stuffing as it's nice and large, or maybe you'll just slice it up and use it as a vehicle for dip. These are little baby cilantro leaves popping through the dirt. They grow so quickly, ready to go in about a month or so. You could cut these now and use them as microgreens or on top of salads or soups, but they won't grow back as the big beautiful cilantro herb you might be looking for. And here they are just a few days later and noticeably bigger. Did you know if you let cilantro go to seed and then collect the seeds, you get coriander? A beautiful view of fresh, young cilantro. It's bright green, boasting peak freshness. One bell pepper offers over 100% of your daily vitamin C for the day. That's a lot. Vitamin C plays an important role in iron absorption as well as wound healing for the body. As with most plants, cilantro offers antioxidants. These compounds include terpene, quercetin, and tocopherols. They may have anti-cancer, immune-boosting, and neuroprotective effects, says some studies.
So today we're going to make our breakfast peppers. Peppers really make a fine vessel to hold breakfast fixings. In this case, eggs, tomatoes, cheese, beans, spices, peppers, and brown rice. First, we're going to measure 1/3 of a cup of dry rice because that's going to make 2/3 of a cup for our dish. We're going to rinse this rice first before we cook it to wash away any grit or dust. Put double the amount of water, so it's 1/3 of a cup of rice to 2/3 of a cup of water, and then we'll put it on the stove and cook it up. Once the rice is boiling, we'll turn it down to a simmer. Now a simmer is where the little bubbles are just breaking on the top of the water. We'll cover it. Now I cover it with the lid a little bit askew so the water doesn't boil over and make a big mess on the stove. Brown rice takes about 30 to 45 minutes to cook, and you can cook it ahead of time. Brown rice is a great example of a whole grain. A whole grain is any grain that's been minimally processed so that it's left with its bran and germ intact. The bran and the germ are where most of the vitamins, minerals, and fiber are, and the fiber in brown rice can keep your blood sugar from going up too high after you eat it, and it also lowers your risk of heart disease. Check the rice for doneness after about 30 minutes, and when it's done, it will have absorbed all the water and be nice and soft when you taste a bit of it. The recipe calls for a cup total of grated cheddar cheese. Now you can grate it with a hand grater like I'm doing here. You can buy it grated, and if you don't like cheddar, use a different kind of cheese, or you can use a non-dairy cheese, or less cheese, or no cheese. So for the filling for these peppers, we're gonna combine the rice and the beans. It's a great way to get a complete protein, and that's because the amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein in the rice and those in the beans, are different amino acids, but they complement each other to make a complete protein. The next step is to cut the peppers in half lengthwise. So first we're going to cut the top off, and the seed core in these big bell peppers comes out nice and easily. Then we're going to slice it down the middle and lay each side flat in order to put the filling in. We're going to make a little indentation in the filling once it's in there with the back of our tablespoon, because later we're going to put an egg in there after it's been baking for a bit. Well, we fit the 4 halves into the baking dish, and what we'll do now is pour about a half cup of water into the pepper dish so the peppers both steam and bake. And now we're gonna put that lid on, put it in the oven, and bake it for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. Okay, we've taken it out of the oven. And we'll take the top off the baking dish. Then we're going to crack an egg into that little indentation. Now we're going to bake it covered for 15 minutes more until the egg whites are completely set or to desired doneness. Okay, our dish has come out of the oven and the eggs have come out totally firm and lovely. So we're now going to sprinkle a little cheese on top and a little cilantro, my favorite herb, but not everybody likes cilantro. So you can use another herb like basil, oregano, or dill. Here's our breakfast pepper, all ready to be enjoyed for breakfast or for lunch or for dinner or in between. Enjoy and bon appetit!